Hey, button pushers! My name is Nick, and welcome back to the life and suffering of Sir Brante. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat this at all, but the last episode was a bit of a shit show. Things did not go well for me in youth, so just as a quick rundown. We went to the capital. We joined the Lotless because I thought my long-term scheme is obviously to change the way things are. So what better way to do that than cast off the lots completely and join a rebellion? I made a bond of friendship with Thomas, who was my childhood friend, say that we would always be friends. Me and the Lotless organised a march of collars to save witches that were about to be burned at the stake. It went very wrong. We all got basically killed or captured. I thought we'd been betrayed by Sophia, who is the leader of the Lotless. Turns out I was maybe a little bit quick to judge on that. But yeah, I got captured. And I was basically given a choice of true death and probably the death of my entire family, or to sell out the rest of the Lotless. I didn't want my family to die, so I had to make that horrific, impossible decision, and I sold out the rest of the Lotless, which I still feel just so bad about. But now me and Sophia are now agents of the secret chancellery. And we've been sent back to Anazot, which is our hometown, to basically be spies for them. So we've been given enough money to set up a print shop where we will live out our days as printers by day, spies by night. It's not gone well. It's not gone well at all. But my diplomacy, theology, and manipulation aren't terrible. They're not great, they're not terrible. Neither is valor, eloquence, and scheming. So nothing's been tanked properly. There were glimpses of potential hope. There could be hope. Me and Sophia can hopefully try and figure something out and find our way out of this, but I truly do not know. But we're in peacetime now, and this is quite a chunk. So I don't know if this is going to be one episode or whether this is going to be multiple episodes. It might jump a few years at a time, I guess, but we'll see. I'll play it by ear.
A full adult now, I returned from the capital a changed man. Yet, my hometown was not the same as I had left it. Fate had difficult times in store for all of us.
Peacetime. So one of the biggest ongoing world changes around me that I haven't really had any involvement with, it is kind of what I wanted to happen anyway, is that faith is breaking down. There's the old faith is being constantly questioned by the new faith, which has risen, which is basically saying that the lots aren't assigned by the twin gods. They were never mentioned by the twin gods, so why should we be following them? Which is interesting. A note from underground. The carriage makes its way along the road. You see the land of Magra through the window, empty and desiccated by ancient magic. Your home, Anazot, is but a few hours away along the road. The carriage is stuffy and hot from the sun, even with the thick blinds pulled tight. It's a familiar heat, but you will now need to get used to it again. The heat weighs heavily on you, but it also reminds you of your childhood. You will see your family again soon. How will they react to you? Will they accept you after you betrayed their hopes and trust? Yeah, they're all pissed with me because I didn't become a lawyer or a judge or a bishop. They're not called bishops. A man of cloth, basically. Gloria still likes me because I rebelled, so there's that. Got that going for me. You're back in your native province. You'll be home soon, but you're no longer the boy who took this very road to the capital 4 years ago. But who are you now? A clandestine outlaw? A rebel? Or an agent of the secret chancellery? What future awaits you now? Can you get your freedom back? Can you save everything you hold dear? I really hope so. To drive away the worries about your new life and new destiny, you reread Sophia's letter yet again. I'm glad you didn't do anything stupid and chose to seize your chance for freedom, Brante. I'll be going to Anazot a week after you. Both of us coming back at the same time might attract unwanted attention. It's best if nobody even knows we have anything to do with each other. We'll find an excuse for our frequent meetings later. Oh, okay, I thought we were being sent back as a team, but okay, fair enough. I'm glad she's okay with me, because I wasn't sure if she was pissy with me or not. I mean, she doesn't like me that much at the moment, in terms of stats, but this is okay. You should go home and reconnect with your family. Don't draw any attention. Keep your head down. Don't leave that old house of yours. When the time comes, I'll find you. Tell everyone you're planning to open a print shop. Find a building to rent for it, someplace far from prying eyes. It'll be our underground headquarters. I'll tell you more about our mission when we meet. That's all. You put the letter back in your pockets. The walls of Anazot have finally emerged on the horizon. Before you do anything else, you're going home. No, this is going to be uncomfortable. Okay, I'm not even going to look. Not even going to look. Nope. Nope. Not doing it. Not doing it. Because then I will anticipate things, and I don't want to do that. I want everything to come at me like a speeding bullet of sadness. Homecoming. The carriage stops. The familiar gate. Your bedroom window. The same one you used to climb out of at night from time to time. The well-tended garden with its imported soil. The delightful greenery. And Mother's beloved violets, irises. The porch you used to jump off when you were little. You are home. You touch the handle of the front door and halt for a moment. It's been 4 years since you left for Eterna, but it feels like yesterday. The air inside is cool, as usual. Father can't stand a stuffy room and insists on constantly airing out the house. Inside the house, the first thing you hear is the sound of someone running out of the library. Your sister Gloria appears and immediately throws her arms around you. Her joy is so strong, you barely manage to stay on your feet. Gloria is dressed in men's clothing, including culottes, a frock coat, and a necktie with a massive pin. She's almost unrecognisable in her new attire. There are dark circles under her eyes, as though from lack of sleep or frequent tears. Brother, I've been waiting for you for so long. I'm proud to see you've chosen your own path and decided to live the way you want. You're actually going to open your own print shop. You're going to print books, even poetry. And I'm going to spy on the people I love, but don't tell anyone because you'll get killed. Oh shit. I double clicked, sorry. Speaking of poetry, from the inner pocket of your jacket you produce a small bound book in soft black leather. Gloria gingerly accepts your gift. She notices the author's name, Shah Malanadas, on the cover and knits her brow. But after quickly flipping through the pages, she showers you with gratitude. I thought Malanadas was just a warlock. I had no idea he wrote poetry. How fascinating. I'm going to read it all, from cover to cover. Mother comes out of the sitting room, leaning on Nathan's arm. You immediately see signs of the illness mentioned in the letters from home. Her back is bent, her hair is grey, a thin web of wrinkles cover her face, and her complexion has lost its colour. She slowly embraces you. Her arms feel nearly weightless. You press your face into her shoulders, breathing in the nearly forgotten, dearly beloved smell. Mother holds you by the shoulders and studies you for a long time. You've been away so long, son. It's such a shame your journey was in vain. You didn't become a judge, or even a priest. I guess it's your fate to bear your lot until the very end. But you'll endure it. That's how I raised you. Nathan approaches you after Mother. Your younger brother is the same height as you now. His hair almost reaches his shoulders, but he still has the same lost look in his eye he had when he was a boy. It's good to see you, brother. Home just hasn't been the same without you. Who cares about your estate, right? I'm just glad you're here with us again. You pat Nathan on the back. Loud footsteps echo down the stairs. Stefan appears. His shoulders have grown broader, and his features have become harsher, just like grandfather's. He stares you and Nathan down with contempt, his arms crossed on his chest. Welcome back, commoner. I'd hoped you'd have become my equal, but apparently you just didn't have it in you. Guess you'll know better than Nathan. I can only hope you'll know your place from now on. Why did Father even send you to the capital in the first place? Oh, I've missed you. As Stefan says these words, you see Father appear from his study. He looks older now. His back is hunched and he squints. There are deep lines around his mouth and silver threads in his dark hair and mustache. He stops a few steps away and examines you from head to toe. He does not say a word, shaking his head slowly. You explain yourself to Father. This was the only path you could have taken. The college and the judge's calling were not for you. However, your time in the capital was not spent in vain. You've made many influential friends there, and now you plan to open a print shop in Anazot and make a good living. You do your very best to make this sound convincing. No one can ever see through your cover story. When I sent my son to the capital, I expected him to return a nobleman, but the man who stands before me was a commoner, a merchant, an artisan. I had such high hopes for you, but our family's future rests in Stefan's hands now. Oh well, I've had enough time to make my peace with this. You're still a member of this family. We'll see how your shop fares. Perhaps you can still find a way to contribute to the Brante household. He lets out a bitter chuckle. Then, after a pause, Father spreads his arms wide to embrace you. You're finally home, my son. Well then, time for dinner. Your mother's prepared a veritable feast in your honour. For the first time in years, your entire family shares a meal at the same table. So find out how Mother's doing, ask Gloria about her life, chat with Nathan, talk to Stefan. Stefan can eat shit and die. Yeah, I'm worried about Mum. Mama. Sickly mother. You cautiously ask Mother about her health over dinner. Oh, it's nothing, Niklaus. I have no complaints. I've just been a little weak lately. It happens at my age. I humbly accept whatever fate the twins have chosen for me. Having said this, she stops abruptly and looks upward. Father cuts in. You know, son, you should tell us about your life in the capital. What gave you the idea to open a print shop? You mentioned in one of your letters that you've seen the Imperial family with your own eyes. What are the Tempests like? You have to relate the 4 years you spent in Eterna, carefully omitting anything that might reveal your secret mission. Only later that night, while talking to Nathan on the back porch, do you learn more about Mother's health. I'll be frank with you, Mother isn't doing so well. Gloria and I do our best not to leave her alone. You can ask her questions, but her answers often don't make sense, and she keeps falling silent in the middle of conversations like she did today. Her illness is consuming her. You know, if Mother passes away, she may not be reborn. I dread to think what will become of Father then, and of Gloria. Gloria's had it hard lately. Stefan has treated her like dirt for the last year. I think he plans to drive her out of the house so her origins won't taint the Brante reputation anymore. Stefan only cares about one thing now, getting our family ennobled by the sword. So for him, Gloria's just an obstacle between him and his goal. You spend quite some time in silence, gazing at the radiant stripe of the shining pillar as it grows more and more luminous against the darkening sky. The Brante family is about to face some challenging times. Yeah, because everything's just been peachy clean up until now. I realise the phrase is peachy keen, not peachy clean, but whatever. First steps. After several days of searching and inquiring, you find a suitable location for the print shop. You choose a 2-storey building on a dead-end street, away from any pedestrian thoroughfares, right next to the city's outer wall, spacious and sturdy. It has more than enough space for the printing press and workbenches. The basement is dry, and the windows are too tiny to peek through. It's the perfect location for a clandestine headquarters. You inspect the rooms. The corner will be good for the typesetting area, and the shelves of ink can go over there. Before you finish, Sophia knocks at the door. Once inside, she casts a glance over the rooms and walls and chuckles with approval. This is just what we need, Brante. A perfect location. Couldn't have found anything better myself. Guess the capital taught you well. I'm glad to see I was right about you. This job will be a lot easier with your help. Sophia brushes a layer of dust from an old wooden crate, then lights her pipe as she sits. So, how about I tell you what you and I are up to in this town, huh? Remember what we did in the capital? Well, we're going to do that same trick here in Anazot. That's our mission. Philippe wants us to found an underground society here. Anyone who wants to rebel and riot, we'll let them join. We'll also keep them in check and use them to do whatever the secret chancellery says. So we're just anarchists, basically. I still don't know everything Philippe's planning yet, but I can tell you he was real angry about how the Inquisition cast all the dirt we dug up on Patriarch Junius to the four winds. Here, in Anazot, Philippe wants the real deal. You frown. The real deal? What's that supposed to mean? It means you and I have to find all the troublemakers in town and take charge of them. Anyone who's willing to fight for their rights, we turn them into an organised force under our command, and then we'll use them to do whatever Philippe wants. Philippe wants to take the city into his own hands. He needs disorder, little disturbances and riots, enough unrest so there's always an excuse to arrest folk whenever they need to. But Philippe always has to be in charge. This is the secret chancellery's way. As long as the streets are restless, everybody, especially the Overseer, will keep thinking good old Sir Philippe El Ferro is a real useful friend to have. Saviour of the Empire and all that. Their last bulwark against the rabble-rousers. The more riots and unrest we incite, the stronger our underground force will become, and the stronger the secret chancellery will get. Once the people are shouting in the squares, the prefecture and the magistrates will be powerless, and our buddy Philippe will pick up the slack. You following so far? You nod. So you're supposed to incite unrest. Is that all you have to do? That's just the beginning. Philippe also wants the Lesser Quorum broken up at some point in the future. It's full of folks who don't like the way things are done in the Empire. But the Empire's lucky for now. The Lesser Quorum spends too much time bickering and not enough time trying to work together. That'll work in our favour. So by the time Philippe wants to blackmail the Lesser Quorum, we need to have our own underground network, and it's got to be big enough for his needs. We'll frame Quorum members, gather accusations, plant agents, stuff like that. In other words, we'll do the secret chancellery's dirty work for them. Now, let's get down to business. Here in Anazot, there are some big shots who are opposing the Imperial Order. We need to do our best to exploit them for our cause. If we're lucky enough, maybe we can even get them on our side. Sophia starts counting on her fingers. Number 1 on my list is Augustine L. Bourne, prefect of Magra. He's almost a relative to you, isn't he? Stefan's uncle? When Gaius Tempest was first appointed overseer in Magra, he was the only member of the provincial council who openly supported him. Elborn is one of the most powerful nobles in Magra, but he has always protected the common folk. He could be our main ally, or a real dangerous enemy. The second fellow worth mentioning is Mayor Egmont, leader of the wealthy commoners in the Lesser Quorum. He's an old merchant who's got rich mining silver and managed to weasel his way into provincial politics as a commoner. We need to ensure Egmont's support as soon as possible. He's rich, powerful, and will be useful to our cause. Last on my list is Father Lennart. He's the abbot of the temple by the Silver Tree and the local spiritual leader of the New Believers. Right now, lots of Magran commoners are rejecting Isatius' teachings of the Lots, and it's all thanks to Lennart and his influence. If those folks have managed to cast off one burden, it should be easy to talk them into rejecting another one. Sophia taps her pipe against the crate, knocking the remaining tobacco onto the floor. One more thing, Brante. We're going to be manipulating people. I'm talking lies, half-truths, using and exploiting folks, you name it. And we need to get them to follow us. That's a tough thing to do. People can smell phonies a mile away, so we have to believe everything we say. I mean, really believe it, from the bottom of our hearts. If you aren't ready to die for your cause, why expect it from other folks? But you also have to remember who we're really doing all this for. She trails off. You wait a moment, then ask Sophia why she agreed to do this. Why is she working for Philippe? Can't she run from him, or use magic to subdue it? Sophia's deep eyes focus all their attention on you. The merciless Magran sun fills the room through the narrow window. Reflected in her eyes is a multitude of yellow sparkles. Don't brainwash me again. I didn't like that before. You think I've never tried, Brante? Don't be so naive. Magic will not help me bring Philippe down. When I use my power, you notice it quickly, and Philippe notices it even faster. If I try to enchant him ever again, I'll be collared and sent back to the House of Humility. I'm never going back there again. Never. As for escaping, there's no hiding from the secret chancellery. Sooner or later, they will find me. The Empire is absolute. The Empire is eternal. the Empire is everywhere. We're all in the same cage. There's no way out of it, and so it will be as long as the Empire still stands. So forget about running away. If you want to get out of this alive, just do what I tell you. Trust me, and I'll take care of you. I do trust her, actually, wholeheartedly. I had my doubts before, but I do trust her completely. Now let's talk about your next step. We need to shore up our cover story. Make sure it doesn't fall apart the first time gendarmes take a close look at it. Get this print shop to work. You need employees. You're good at picking the right people, just as good as me, so you'll do the hiring. Choose people who are loyal, people who do the job and keep their mouths shut. When Philippe gets here, we'll have to show him what we've accomplished so far, and you do not want to disappoint him. So you'd better get cracking. We've got a lot of work to do. With that, Sophia nods to you and leaves. You're left alone to pace the rooms of your future print shop and think. What do you do first? Well, we're back to just doing one thing, are we? Good. If I'd have done anything other than just rebel in the last episode, I'd have so many stats right now. But no, I will just commit to printing business then. You invest more into the print shop and hire skilled labour in order to transform your cover story into a proper business. Which, to be fair, is a sensible first step anyway. The undercover part of your job can wait. You have to get the print shop up and running first. You will not be satisfied by a mere semblance of a business. No, you're going to found a successful shop capable of turning a profit. You convince father to contribute a portion of the family's funds to the venture and purchase a printing press, movable type, quality paper, and expensive ink. Then you hire skilled labour, the best printers you can find in Anazot. They will teach the future resistance members, whom you'll hire later. It's such a pleasure to watch the print shop come to life. You may have begun this undertaking for an entirely different cause, but now you've turned the print shop into something that is actually yours. The first thing you print is a thick stack of advertising sheets. Soon, these black and red leaflets appear on every street corner in Anazot. Bronte's print shop is open for business. I am moderately meaning. I was going to say wealthy, but nah. I'm not wealthy. I'm moderately comfortable. Oh yeah, and I got some willpower out of that as well. Yes. That's always a precious commodity. You started your service for the Secret Chancellery by opening a print shop as a cover. Profitable business. Oh yeah. Thanks to your investment, the print shop becomes much more believable as a front for your underground operations and may actually turn a profit sooner or later. I'm a businessman now, baby. And a spy. A reluctant spy. A reception at the Brante residence. You come back home after a short stroll through the city. As soon as you set foot in the house, you're greeted by Stefan, who invites you to have a talk in Father's office. When you enter the room, Father has a heap of letters in front of him, and is signing them one after another. Son, Stefan and I must discuss an important matter with you. While you were in the capital, our family formally petitioned the Overseer to grant us the nobility of the sword. We have 3 generations of noble blood already. We have the right to make our nobility hereditary. Your grandfather took the first steps towards the nobility of the sword as soon as Stefan was born, and now we are on the brink of becoming the El Brontes. If Overseer Gaius Tempest and the nobles of the province deem us worthy, we will receive a hereditary title. All nobles of the Brante family will remain noble forever, as will their descendants. Father and I do our utmost to maintain the family position, but our goal can be reached only if our reputation remains unblemished in the eyes of high society. The nobility is watching our every step. Father lays a hand on your shoulder. Now this is your cause too. The future of our family depends on it. We need an estimable reputation and wealth. Everyone bearing the name of Brante affects it. Remember that with every action you take, Niklaus. You'll have to appear before Anazot High Society. We're going to host a reception for the nobility at our home soon. You must uphold the honour of our family, brother. You'll relate the news from Eterna to our guests and present yourself in favourable light. With Stefan at the helm, the entire family spends a full week preparing for the majestic reception. The house is flooded with decorations and new tableware. Delicacies are cooking in the kitchen round the clock. and the napkins now bear an embroidered oak branch in chains, the Brante family crest. Gloria is the only one to neglect the common cause. Were it up to me, I wouldn't be seen at this hypocritical gathering, but I don't want to let Sir Robert down. He's the only reason I plan to stay for the event. The evening of the reception has come. Dignified conversations and the clinking of glasses fill the house. Among your guests are many highborn, powerful people. Your father and Stefan dance from guest to guest, making sure nobody is overlooked. Oh, young Niklaus, how splendid to see you. So, what was your time in the capital like? You exchange pleasantries with a high-placed relative. Meanwhile, Gloria and Mother spend the evening on a settee by the wall without drawing any attention. Neither your father nor your elder brother introduce them to the noble guests. Shady bitches. Stefan and father, not Gloria and Mother. They've done nothing wrong. Still, one of the guests, a young nobleman of the sword named Jose El Pelletier, keeps staring at Gloria in fascination. Your sister reverts her eyes, bemused. Oh, Lady Gloria, you are the true gem of the evening. You look so marvellously daring. I haven't seen your like even in the capital. When you walk past Gloria, you hear her hurried whisper. Niklaus, please talk to me. This El Pelletier keeps following me. I feel uneasy. What does he want from me? I'm just a lowly commoner. Come with me to the other side of the room, although I'll probably still stand out among all these refined nobles. Look, it's Durante the painter. I wonder what's brought him so far from the capital. That would be fabulous if he could paint our family portrait. We should all be on canvas together. We're one big, happy family, after all. Are we? Are we, though? Wine glass in hand, you cast a look across the crowded room. It's time to choose how you'll spend the evening. Apparently not so much for choice. I'm going to present mother and sister then, I guess. Even though they're lowborn, your mother and sister deserve the attention of the guests. This is going to hurt the reputation of the family, but yeah, it's fine. It shouldn't, but it will. You take your mother and sister by the arm and lead them to the middle of the room. You ask if you can have everyone's attention for a moment in order to present the hostess of the evening. May I present Lydia Brante, wife of Sir Robert, and their daughter, Gloria. The guests avert their gaze in confusion. Mother bows with difficulty in response, while Gloria supports her by her shoulders. My esteemed guests, it's a great honour for us to have you in our home. Although we're not all of noble descent, the Brante family will always strive to give you the welcome you deserve. Father, dumbfounded, walks up to Mother and takes her hand. You order the musicians to start playing. Father has no choice but to dance with his wife. Oh, what a poor man. Oh, I feel so bad for you. Just be a good husband. The guests whisper disdainfully to one another, but maintain decorum and join the dance. It's this precise thing that made me join the Lotless, because I wanted to burn this shit to the ground. Stefan, furious, rushes up to you. How dare you? You're not a child anymore, Niklaus. Why draw the nobility's attention to the fact that we still have all these commoners in our family? You retort that this is what the Brontes are. If Stefan is so concerned about his family, he has to acknowledge the existence of Lydia, Gloria, and Nathan, not try to conceal them from the rest of the world. With an aggrieved air, Stefan rejoins the guests. Your parents keep dancing slowly. The illness has taken Mother's former grace, but Father carefully holds her, as if carrying her along with him. Gloria watches them, mesmerised. That took a lot of courage, Niklaus. Let everyone see that our family is more than our title and position. We're people, too. Father and Mother finally finish the dance and come back to you. Mother gives you and Gloria a gentle hug. That was a wonderful idea, son. My legs aren't what they used to be, but it's been so long since I danced with Robert. The night is over. After the guests leave, you discuss the future of the family long into the night. Yes, eat shit and die. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! That's not good. I mean, I don't feel bad. Oh, I've got more willpower. I've got so much willpower now. I'm going to do all the actions. Yeah, I don't feel bad about that choice. One, because it was the right thing to do, and two, because I literally had no other choices I could have made. A rock and a hard place. Already hate this. Good. The Bronte home has been uneasy for several months now. With Father travelling all over the province for his judicial duties, the animosity between Stefan and Gloria has grown into a full-blown feud. Your elder brother tries to use his position as heir to keep his sister in check and make her behave in accordance with her estate. Gloria repudiates his authority. Their fights rock the house on a daily basis. Eventually, after returning from his latest trip, Father gathers Stefan, Gloria, Nathan, and you in his office. His somber look portends a difficult conversation. Stefan gazes at his father defiantly. Gloria is poised to lash out and run away. Nathan quietly keeps to the side. Children, for a long time now, our family has been striving to become nobles of the sword. Every noble member of the Brante family will gain a hereditary title. This is your grandfather's dying wish. Gloria sighs loudly. Then why am I here, Sir Robert? She's right, this is a Brante matter. Wait until I finish, Stefan. I am still the head of this household. If you are truly so concerned about honour, show your father some respect. It can't be helped. Not all of us are noble, but now we must be united as never before. We must work together to protect the reputation and wealth of this family. But you, Stefan, perpetually humiliate Gloria. But, Father, all I'm trying to do is put her in her place. You know perfectly well the consequences of any attention Gloria might attract. Our every step is being observed. The nobles will make pariahs of our family for all eternity if they remember Gloria's filthy origins and your reckless marriage to Lydia. Father turns red in the face, but with considerable effort, he remains composed. That is so. Our grandfather did everything in his power to remedy your mistakes. Please, Father, don't repeat them. Gloria speaks up. I'm just trying to live, Sir Robert, but Stefan wants to lock me in a cage so nobody will ever lay eyes on me. That's not it at all. You are low-born, but you don't live by your lot. You do whatever takes your fancy. You're constantly grumbling about the order of things. Did you know, Father, that she defies all prohibitions by continuing to write poetry? As far as you're concerned, anyone who contradicts you is an insurgent. When will you grasp the idea that you may not argue with a nobleman? I am the heir of this family, and my word is your law. Purple with rage, Father slams his fist on the table. It's rare to see him so furious. Both your elder brother and sister instantly fall silent. Frightened, Nathan shrinks into a corner. Hold your tongues, both of you. Let Nikolaus speak. He has witnessed your quarrels. He should know best which of you is in the right. Side with Stefan. Gloria must stop bringing shame on your family. No, never. Defend Gloria. Stefan should give Gloria some respect. She is a member of this family too. Send Gloria to Valona. You persuade Gloria to go on a trip somewhere far away from Stefan. This will help them bury the hatchet. I'm conflicted about this. So, pros and cons of this. Pros, it puts distance between them. It helps the family because there will be less bickering. It will maybe help Gloria discover something or give her a little bit of freedom. Cons, it's going to cost me money. Well, it's going to cost the family money. It will probably piss off Gloria. Gloria might die. I mean, side with Stefan is completely off the table. That's not happening. Defend Gloria is only going to stoke the... I'm doing it. Hopefully this is the right decision, but given my track record, it probably isn't. You take a conciliatory tone. You note that the tempers are running too high. Your siblings would benefit from spending some time apart. They need to cool off, then try to settle their differences. From what you hear, the town of Valona in the southern part of the province has an excellent resort with healing springs. What if Gloria took a vacation there for a month to improve her health and have some rest by the sea? Gloria shakes her head hesitantly. You trying to get rid of me, Nikolaus, so I won't be in your way. What am I supposed to do at some twins' forsaken spa? You patiently explain to Gloria that she'll be able to enjoy some reading, find inspiration in contemplating the waves, and ponder on her future. And then, when she comes back, she and Stefan will calmly discuss their issues. Finally, Gloria gives in. A trip to Valona will be costly. I'd like to know who'll pay for it. Pipe down, dickface. Speaking first and foremost to your father, you argue that peace in the family is worth any expense. The two of you should indeed spend some time away from each other. Let it be as you suggested, Nikolaus. Gloria, start packing. Stefan, please send a note to Valona and hire a carriage for your sister. Gloria reluctantly heads off to the coast. This trip forces the family to spend a hefty sum, but without the constant bickering of your brother and sister, tension at home quickly dissolves. With no need to keep an eye on Gloria, Stefan devotes himself to Anazot's social life. I feel this is potentially the right decision to have made. Gloria returns surprisingly serene. After a month in Valona, her temper has mellowed for a time. She's engrossed in her own affairs and does not draw her brother's ire. Oh, we are now in poverty. We're on the cusp. Okay. Manipulation, I'm nearly canny. I'm very nearly canny. And I can now speak clearly. I'm eloquent. The last straw. The last few weeks in Anazot resemble your first few years in the capital, when you and Sophia were recruiting people to join the Lotless. You were so full of hope and ambition back then. Slowly, you both begin to make useful friends and acquaintances in the city. Gendarmes, street peddlers, merchants, labourers, vagrants, and each of them requires a unique approach. The techniques you used in Eterna work here as well. You look for people you need, plan secret meetings, and make sure everything is secure. Sophia delivers one ardent speech after another, berating the Imperial Order. But so far, only few people have stayed with you after these meetings. You have to hunt for each new member all over the city. Commoners are too afraid. Only the most desperate or insane are ready to join you. There are two types in particular who stand out. Wow. One is Father Fuad, a creaky old priest with fire in his eyes. He introduces himself as a commoner who's chosen the preacher's path. Does that mean he's a new believer? Fuad scoffs at the question. I'll put it this way, the only words that are true are those the twins tell you themselves, and I've heard their voice plenty. But the priests who just cook up some nonsense and call it divine law, they're either crooks or they're fools, all of them. And Isatius is the biggest crook and fool of them all. Had he lived in any other city in the Empire, he would have already been burned at the stake for those words. But here in Anazot, Fuad freely preaches in various taverns and squares. Moreover, the old man is well educated, so you hire him as a typesetter and even let him sleep in the storeroom. When the time comes to assemble a mob or spread some rumours, he'll surely come in handy. The other is Elida Sirin, who works at the print shop as a bookbinder. A quiet and innocuous young woman, she nevertheless believes in your words and your struggle with all her heart, and her innocent appearance hides an ardent will. Why would she choose to fight against the Empire? When a leader explains, you do not expect to hear a cold steel in her voice. My sister was hanged in Eterna after the trial of the 50. I know, I might sound like a weepy little girl, but I'm not looking for pity. I just want her murderers to hang. That's all. Sophia's speeches are always brimming with passion and sincerity. She speaks out against the injustice of the Empire and calls for people to fight with such intensity that sometimes you find yourself getting swept up by her words, nodding along with the rest. When she speaks, Philippe's plans and the secret chancellery disappear, replaced by a vision of a new world where justice and freedom reign. But this illusion passes every time, and when it does, the truth about your conspiracy always feels more crushing than ever. You gave all your employees a day off today. Sir Philippe El Ferro is coming to Anazot. Your print shop is the first place he'll visit. Sophia stuffs tobacco into her pipe over and over again, trying to look calm behind the smoke. You hear the sound of hooves and wheels on cobblestones. A carriage comes to a halt outside. A man walks past the windows and knocks at the heavy front door with the handle of his cane. You open it hurriedly. Philippe is not alone. He's accompanied by a man with sinewy arms and the face of a predator. Once inside, the secret chancellery advisor takes off his cloak, then inspects the premises with care. Sophia was right. Excellent choice. Well done, Brante. I had my doubts about you, but those doubts are gradually being erased. You are indeed a man of many talents. Speaking of talents, allow me to introduce you to Oliver Moss, an old friend of mine. I brought him all the way from Eterna to help you out. His skills are even more unusual than yours. It's amazing how much a person can learn to do when he's well paid. Oliver grins at Philippe's words. The toothy smile cuts through his face like a gruesome scar. You flatter me, Sir Philippe, but you're right. Coin works wonders. Philippe chuckles at that. He produces a small flask from the pockets and takes a little sip. But you, Sophia, you disappoint me. I expected to see a functioning organization. But I am told what you have here is not a secret society, but a miserable rabble of the worst people in the city. Just look at this self-proclaimed priest Fuad. We're in Anazot, this hotbed of heresy and rebellious ideas. How come you aren't able to find skillful conspirators here? I need a nice little revolt that's easy to suppress. I need a network of spies to dig up dirt on anyone who may stand in our way. Is that too much to ask? You did this job perfectly well in Eterna. What's the matter, Sophia? Can't you do the same thing again? Sir Philip, Brante and I are going out of our way to get people into our ranks. But things are not looking too good for us right now. The province has a new overseer. Citizens are hopeful. They expect change. So the only people who come to us are from the very bottom of life. Oh, this rabble is dangerous. They will ruin my plan. And they will bring you and Brante to the gallows. This time, I won't be able to do anything for you. Get rid of them and find conspirators who can be trusted with real work. I have too many enemies here in Anazot. The local magistrate alone is a huge thorn in my side. You have to act faster. Time is of the essence. Or maybe you have more important things to do than serving the Empire. We're doing everything in our power, Sir Philippe. In order to prepare your plan, we must recruit as many people as possible, and this is what we're doing. Don't try my patience, Sophia. I said get rid of the rabble, find real conspirators, carefully vet each and every one of them. Sophia lowers her head, unable to further argue with the powerful advisor. Philippe suddenly turns to you. Brante, you're the main recruiter of the society. What do you say? Can you do this job for me? Well, I can't side with Sophia, so I guess I'm agreeing with Philippe. You're ready to carry out Philippe's order and carefully vet everyone who wants to join the underground. That's going to piss Sophia off, I'm sure. You readily answer that you'll follow Sir Philippe's order. It's dangerous and stupid to recruit strangers without any vetting. You'll make every effort to select only skilled and reliable conspirators. You and Sophia made a mistake, but you will fix it. Sophia scoffs at that. Sir El Ferro, however, pats you on the shoulder. Well said, Brante. We'll do just that. As for you, Sophia, I don't suggest testing my patience any further. You're one straw away from breaking the horse's back. Now, speaking of straws, I believe your secret society will need a name, right? The last straw will do just fine. It's cheap, grim, pompous. The lowborn ought to like it. Oliver, I'm leaving you in the care of our rebels. Show them how real secret chancellery agents get things done. Philippe downs the last of his flask and walks out of the print shop. Sophia follows him without saying a word. You are left alone with Oliver. He looks you over. We're gonna get along just fine, Brante. Don't you worry. Oh, Philippe's indifferent to me. Oh, Sophia, no. Oh, no. Baby girl, I'm sorry. Oh, spy network's gone up a little bit. Oh, so much willpower. I am just brimming, positively overflowing with power. Heart's on fire. The last straw is growing stronger by the day. More and more names are being added to your list of potential recruits. Dress fancy tomorrow, Brante, but don't look too rich. We're going to a salon, a gathering of young poets. They're all commoners, mostly new believers, so they think they're defying their lot by writing poetry. This will be their first meeting ever. I say we take a gander. Who knows? They could be useful. You go to a small building in the very heart of the city. The first floor was once a tavern, but it's been converted into a stage with benches for the audience. The place is noisy and crowded, Those who can't find a seat squeeze into the spaces between the benches. You and Sophia stand in the back corners, far away from each other. A young man in a threadbare jacket makes an announcement. Welcome to the first weekly gathering of the Anazot Poetry Society. The poets are all young men and women. They take turns walking up to the stage from the benches to read a poem or two from their own creation. They look humble and shy at first, but as they declaim their stanzas, their voices ring with sudden strength and daring fervour. A mighty giant with his head held high, his heavy tread, his trained and measured stride, he is an effigy of lowborn life, with naught but chaff and rags and dust inside. By lowborn labour granted food and clothing, he is indeed a terrifying sight. But look behind his eyes, and you will find not grandeur or renown, but fear and loathing. Behold the azure skin, the bred contempt, their past long turned to ash, their blue blood bled. Their majesty in flames, their mantles rent, ensconced in diamonds white and rubies red, glimmering giant rots, his essence spent. The gems may glitter, but the husk is dead. The poems recited on stage display exceptional variety. Rhymed couplets, blank verse, short stanzas, lengthy cantos, pathos-laden ballads, vulgar screeds, humorous epigrams, scathing tirades. But in each and every voice you hear the same pain, the same weary ache born of servitude, the gnawing grievance with the gods, the simmering rage against the Empire, and dreams of another destiny, another life, another existence. A commoner, the word is like a brand. The twins themselves once told me to be silent. I want to scream. Can't take this anymore. The misery around me knows no end. The gentlefolk just beat us and demean us. The young, the old, the poor, the sick, the tired. They tread upon us, gazing at the heavens. They feed upon our sweat-soaked suffering. Every poem fills the room with loud applause. Every line resounds in people's hearts. This much is clear from their faces. Some mark every word and verse with a nod, while others cannot hold back tears. With the zeal of preachers guiding their flock to their lots, these young poets chastise the ills of worldly life with every word they utter. You join in the applause. Like it or not, their poetry hits home. Some of the poems are crafted so well, you find yourself eager to read them. This kind of poetry would be in great demand here in Anazot. What a shame no print shop would agree to publish it. Later that night, you rejoin Sophia to discuss what you've seen. I've never heard anything like that before. I'm used to nursery rhymes and bawdy drinking songs, but this is something else. You can't help but nod. The meeting was like a sermon, and the poet's words hit as hard and as true as a sacramental lash. And the audience, you recognise the look in their eyes. People look at Sophia just the same way every time she uses her magic. The thing is, they have no magic. They can see the truth, and they talk about it so well, can't even stand it. Well, what can I say? I'm glad we went. Those kids could easily spark a riot with just a rhyme or two. But the question is, what are we supposed to do with it? It's a good question indeed, a difficult question. Those young poets are at their strongest when they speak from the heart. Trying to tame their ardour would be like playing with fire. You could recruit them, but it would not be easy to use them. If you can't keep them in check, one day they will inevitably incite a rebellion. Maybe it would be wiser to nip this in the bud and put an end to their society right now. The secret chancellery could easily deal with them, but you could also report them to the prefecture. The gendarmes could take care of them in no time. Or maybe you could pass the case along to Father. It might do his career some good. Or perhaps, this all seems so new, so unknown. Is there any other way you could harness this strange new force of nature? I think I'm going to recruit them. I will recruit the most gifted ones. You assure Sophia that your underground society could use these gifted young men and women. They're still so young, so trusting. It makes sense to recruit them. Okay, I'll let you handle this. For the next few weeks, you diligently attend every single meeting of the Poetry Society. Once you become a regular, you carefully probe several of the poets, those whose verses have the most bite to them. It's a simple matter to convince them to come to the Last Straw hideout. Your poetically endowed recruits eagerly join the ranks of the society. They quickly become a cornerstone of your organisation. Their voices turn the dissonant gaggle of voices into a heartfelt choir, eager to act, eager to riot. Their poems are quoted more and more, often by Last Straw members. They're declaimed by young people in the squares and on the street. They're put to music and sung in taverns. They're writing in paints and soot on the walls. More and more young people recite them instead of prayers. I want to scream. Can't take this anymore. Brante, you were right about recruiting them. They never cease to amaze me. They're so sincere. It's infectious. When they speak, sometimes even I forget about the sleazy game we're playing. Well, how did my spy network just go down? That doesn't make any sense. Nice. I'll speak a little bit clearer now. The Archduke and the Overseer. Two powerful lords have been struggling for power in Magra for over 2 years now. The new Overseer of the province, Gaius Tempest, cannot seem to rein in the obstinate spirit of Archduke Tarquinius Melanidas. Unwilling to accept that he's no longer the Overseer of Magra, the Archduke still stubbornly continues to assert his right to rule the province. Most of the Magran gentry, who swore allegiance to him generations ago, remain loyal to him even now. Gaius Tempest has publicly demanded that the Archduke recognise the Overseer's rule as legitimate. I am the voice and the will of the Emperor Uther II in the province of Magra. All lands, deeds and titles notwithstanding, Archduke Melanidas must obey his sovereign's will and heed his decree. I hereby extend to the Archduke an offer of peace. Should the Archduke cease his insubordination, his lands, deeds and titles shall remain his own. The Archduke's response to the Overseer was openly defiant. Since the days of yore, the land of Magra has belonged to the Melanidas dynasty. We are part of the Empire, and we are the Emperor's loyal servants. However, our dynasty will not stand for such intrusion upon our lawful rights and privileges. Never before us has an Archduke been stripped of his right to represent the Emperor's rule in his own province. So do not forget, Sir Overseer, that the highest noble families in Magra have sworn fealty to me and me alone. Neither the Archduke nor the Overseer will relent, but both are too powerful to be readily disposed of. The bad blood between the two Archneans has festered for too long, and the common people have begun to pay the price for their strife. Stripped of the Overseer's tax privileges, the Archduke Melanidas has decided to impose his own levy upon the citizens and villagers of Magra. The commoners are now forced to pay taxes twice, first to the Overseer and then to the Archduke. This double burden is too much for the common people of Magra to bear. Many have refused the second tax outright as a lawless measure, but the Imperial Legion, led by young Dorius Otten, is ruthless. Oh, we know him. He was chasing Sophia. Eagerly and without mercy, the Legion soldiers collect the Archduke's due in cities and villages alike. Oh dear. Oh dear. A gift for the family. This last year has been an ordeal for the family. The pains taken to be ennobled by the sword, the close attention of the city aristocracy, the squabbles between Stefan and Gloria. Tonight, your preoccupied father has gathered the entire family around a table in the backyard. The sun has almost set, and there is a soft breeze, but instead of a meal in the open air, you're going to attend a family meeting. In the middle of the table, you see an open, gilded box. It's full of jewels. Archduke Melanidas himself has bestowed this gift upon us. It is a surprise indeed. I thought you all had a right to know. Father unfolds a letter laying beside the box. Sir Robert Brante, I bestow this precious box upon you and your family as a symbol of the care with which I treat the people of my province. Pray accept this gift, and remember with whom the loyalty of the true nobles of Magra lies. Archduke of Magra, Tarquinius of the Melanidas. The family stares in amazement at the jewels sparkling in the last rays of sunshine. It's worth quite a fortune, but the Archduke is fully aware that I am on the side of Prefect Elborn and overseeing Gaius Tempest. Could he really expect our loyalty to be bought so brazenly? On the other hand, the Archduke is not demanding anything of us, and our family has borne a lot of expenses recently. Father, no one is forcing you to side with Melanidas. Who are we in comparison to the Archduke anyway? We must not anger him by refusing his gift. The jewels are certainly welcome. They're worthy of being shared with the best families of Anazot. They'll pave our way to the nobility of the sword. Mother shakes her head glumly. Oh, Robert, I have a feeling this gift bodes ill. It may be an impertinence on my part, but I do not want our family to be indebted to the Archduke. Certainly not. Accepting gifts from Melanidas, he's infamous for oppressing the commoners and robbing villagers blind with his taxes. This isn't your decision, Gloria. It's a matter of our family's honour and reputation. Oh, please don't start bickering again. Let Nicholas say what he thinks we should do with the gift. You are the centre of attention now. Your vote will be the deciding factor. Decline the gift, sell the jewels. Well, declining the gift is just going to paint a target on our backs. Sell the jewels could come back to bite us in the arse because we would then be indebted to them. There's no good way out of this, is there? I'm declining. Looking the family patriarch straight in the eye, you state that such a gift is not to be accepted. The Archduke will see it as an oath of allegiance to him. It would be better to provoke his anger than to fall into his trap. You ask Father to send the box back at once. Well, I suppose you're right, Nicholas. It is far too dangerous, not only for me, but for the entire family. I'll write to the Archduke. Bring me my quill. I feel this is the right decision. It's your decision, Father, but please consider how much we stand to lose. There are no jewels I would not renounce to keep you safe. Mother, Nathan, and Gloria cast grateful looks at you. Even Stefan accepts Father's decision after some grumbling. You spend the rest of the night around the table, resting, conversing pleasantly, and amusing yourselves. For the first time in a long while, there's nothing casting a shadow over your home. The Archduke does not deign to reply to Father's letter. No one expected otherwise. Does the Archduke count you among his enemies now? Or has he forgotten about your existence? But why waste time guessing when you can have a moment of peace to enjoy? There's only one disadvantage. You do not have a single coin tucked away in the family treasury. Yeah, that's definitely not a good thing, is it? Well, the family are getting on pretty damn well. Oh my god, my willpower! My willpower! I'm ready for anything. Apart from, in this chapter, willpower means nothing. Concerned citizen. You and Sophia have accomplished a lot over the past year. The last straw now consists of half a dozen cells that know nothing about one another. You've several informers gathering rumours and news. Many citizens support your cause and are ready to help. The ranks of the underground society include honest rebels eager to bring the Empire down, as well as thieves and thugs willing to break any law as long as they get paid. As more and more people join your insurgency, rumours begin to spread throughout the city. It will soon become impossible to conceal your existence. The last straw desperately needs a public figurehead, someone to act as a patron of your secret society, someone who can justify your existence to the authorities. You choose Mayor Egmont. He's earned a fortune and made a name for himself thanks to his silver mines, but now he is the leader of the Magran Lesser Quorum. Rumour has it, he's eager to get in touch with someone from the underground. If there was ever a time to meet, it's now. Fortunately, you know people who know people, and soon enough you arrange a meeting. An empty warehouse, late at night. All the workers have gone home. A dim lamp is the only source of light in the spacious facility. The two of you are alone here, free from prying eyes. Up close, Egmont turns out to be a broad-shouldered, middle-aged man in a pricey frock coat. He wears no jewellery, but his beard and moustache are well kept. Only the grey hair at his temples betray his age. He offers you a warm, rough hand. It's the calloused hand of a man who's had to work all his life. You shake it readily. The industrialist offers you a seat at a nearby table. Truth be told, young man, I know your family quite well. I had the honour to be introduced to your grandfather back in the day. Unfortunately, Sir Gregor Brante wasn't exactly delighted to meet me. But your father, he's a staunch supporter of Elborn. We've often seen eye to eye, he and I. Let's see if you and I can find some common ground too. I'll be frank with you. I know quite a bit about what you're up to here in Anazot. You've built yourself a functioning underground society, and you've done it very quickly, all without getting caught. I'd say you've got an eye for business. But tell me, why are you doing all this? What's your goal? What are you trying to achieve? Please be sincere with me. I'm the last man who wants to see you reported to the Secret Chancellery. You were prepared for this question. Egmont listens carefully as you give him a short speech on the coming rebellion against the Empire. First in Anazot, then in Magra. When you're done, the industrialist lets out a sigh. Ambitious, determined, but utterly senseless. Let's say you do manage to foment an uprising. Against the Archduke, against the Overseer, even the Emperor himself. Well, what then? What are your demands? What do you want to listen to them? If you ever negotiate or make a deal, then with whom will you do it? What about your terms? And what would your relationship with the Empire be like if your revolt succeeds? So far, Niklaus, I've heard no answers to those questions. To be honest, I'm quite confident you don't have the answers. Fortunately for you, I do. There's also one self-evident fact I'd like to bring to your attention. Whenever someone discusses authority or power within the Empire, there's one thing that never seems to raise any doubt. Prefects and commanders, magistrates and overseers, they're always nobles. Any position of power, only for the nobles. Landowners, always nobles. Who rules over Anazot? Overseer Tempest or Archduke Melanidas? No one can say for sure these days. Either way, no matter who they are, nobles rule the city. But a city isn't a castle or a fortress. A city's more than the sum total of its walls and buildings. A city is its people, the commoners who work and trade and live there. There always have been and always will be more of us than the nobles. We are this city, Brante. You've never been to a meeting at the Lesser Quorum, have you? I won't bore you with the details, let me just put it this way. It's the only place where the common estate has the same rights as the nobles. Sure enough, there's arguing, there's contention, there's a fight every time we meet, but as we argue, as we contradict each other, we find a new way, one that takes everybody's interests into account. But, unfortunately, right now the Lesser Quorum only has the authority to discuss issues related to taxation in the province. But if you and I come to an agreement, this will change. I've spent most of my life making the idea of the Quorum a reality, and I swear to you on my life that it works. This is the only way to bring something new to the Empire, by giving the commoners and the nobles the same power. Egmont is shouting now, his eyes shining with excitement. He's utterly engrossed in his idea, and you feel he actually believes what he says. And here in Magra, we have the chance. We had no way to do it in the past, back when Archduke Melanidas was in charge, but now Gaius Tempest represents the Empire's authority in Magra. Tempest still can't find a way to share power with Melanidas. He needs all the support he can get, and you and I, we can give him that support. And Niklaus, are you aware of how Gaius Tempest ended up becoming the Overseer of Magra? He was too progressive for the capital and his fellow Archaeans. He went too far in his attempts to make nobles and commoners equal under imperial law, and he was exiled to Magra for his troubles. And yet, Gaius Tempest has never abandoned the idea of making the estates equal. He was the one who supported the creation of the Lesser Quorum. He is well disposed towards the lowly estate and tends to listen to reason. We can make him our ally, and your uprising could be the deciding factor. If we can manage to seize control of the city and hang on to it, if we can prove we're able to run Anazot, if the citizens show us their support, then we'll have a lot to offer the Overseer. In return for making Anazot a free city, a city-state, if you will, governed by the Lesser Quorum, will recognise Gaius Tempest's authority in Magra and support him in his power struggle against the Archduke. If nobles and commoners come to govern a city together in just a few short years, it will become obvious to the entire empire how advantageous this arrangement is, and then the old traditions will have no choice but to step aside. I understand that things like this take time, but as you prepare for the revolt, I'll support your underground movement with all the power and funding at my disposal, as long as you say you'll walk towards this future with me. Mayor Egmont lets out an exhausted sigh. Delivering such a fervent speech is no easy task for a man of his age. After a moment of quiet, you agree. Yes, you say. This is a future worth fighting for. The last straw will support Egmont's plan. You promise to spread his vision of the free city of Anazot, first among the rebels, then throughout the city, starting immediately. You shake hands. Once the conversation is over, you leave the dark warehouse and walk back through the dark streets of Anazot. You've made a promise, but what are you actually going to do? There's a kernel of truth in Mayor Egmont's words. The aged industrialist's plan could actually work. This is no longer just a pointless revolt doomed to fail. Dangerous thoughts begin running through your mind. Would it be best to abandon the idea of the free city of Anazot and report this meeting to Sir Philippe? So, keep the conversation secret. You choose to take your chance and never mention Egmont's plans in your report to Philippe. You write Philippe a detailed report on the conversation with Egmont. I don't know what to do. So, I'm going to keep the conversation a secret. If I have the potential to undermine Philippe, I'm going to do it because I hate him. I hate the way he speaks, even though I'm the one that's given him a voice, but I hate him anyway. In your report to Philippe, you claim that Mayor Egmont was more careful than you expected, and your attempts to come to an agreement with him were unsuccessful. You claim that the industrialist is putting money into the struggle for commoners' rights, but cleverly disguises it as charity. In the end of the report, you assure Philippe that you will find way for the secret chancellery to connect Egmont's actions to underground activities and the brewing revolt. However, you cannot do it right now. You expect Philippe to reply with a furious letter, but as the days go by, you do not receive a single word from the secret chancellery advisor. The silence feels more menacing than any threat. I hope I haven't made a whoopsie. I've probably made a whoopsie. You joined Egmont in his secret plot to start a rebellion in the city. Yeah, I'm happy with that. An old friend. That's gotta be Thomas, right? I don't have any other friends. Night is falling over Anazot. The stifling heat gives way to an eagerly anticipated freshness. After a day of work, you stroll home at a leisurely pace. You turn down a side street that you've known since you were a little boy. It's as if your legs are acting of their own accord, bringing you to the place of your childhood play, the remnants of the wooden fort. So much has changed since the days when you used to play here with your little friends. Engrossed in your memories, at first you fail to notice that you're not alone here. A tall figure in the uniform of a Legion officer approaches you. You see unruly brown hair and a twinkle in his eye. It's Thomas. Nah, that's a surprise. Fancy running into you the moment I'm back in town. Your childhood friend puts his arms around you. Our battalion got transferred here recently. We're under the command of the Magra Legion now. I'm keeping the peace and maintaining order in my very own province. Well, why don't we catch up? Let me buy you dinner. We'll have a little chat. Remember the old days. Thomas cuts himself short. You suddenly notice how much taller he looks. His face has become sharper and rougher, and his eyes are filled with exhaustion rather than their usual mischievous sparkle. I should warn you though, Nicholas, I ain't the best company nowadays. I've managed to get myself some powerful enemies already. I'm a friend who could taint your good name, so if you'd rather not be seen with me, well, I understand. The smile on his face starts to fade. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have dinner with my good buddy. I accepted his friendship ring because we're besties, and I'm going to have dinner with my bestie. You just try and stop me. Society. You give Thomas your hand. You shake hands firmly. So you haven't forgotten your old friend, Brante. That's the way it ought to be. Yeah, come on in. You go to a tavern, reminiscing about your childhood antics on these very streets along the way. You choose a table in the far corner of the tavern. Thomas orders a bottle of good wine and some food. You talk about your latest case, your first years back in Anazot. You share family news, your quest to become nobles of the sword, the quarrels between your eldest brother and sister, your mother's health. Thomas nods with concern. Sounds like you've had some tough times. Your family's always been different. Mine, on the other hand, is the same as it ever was. My pa's always doing his workshop, and my ma's always doing chores. But look at me. I came home a service class noble. Although, it doesn't bring me much joy anymore. Thomas is suddenly grim. You ask your old friend to share his troubles with you. He quickly glances round the room and lowers his voice. Well, I'm a captain in the Margaret Legion now, and who's our commander? His Excellency Dorius Otton. Yeah, that's right. I serve under the very same Archduke whose toes I stepped on back in Eterna. And you better believe he remembers me. I'm afraid things are going to end real bad. But, hey, I'll figure it out somehow. Don't trouble yourself over it. Apart from that, well, it's the usual service. We impose order in uppity towns and villages, protect the province, that sort of thing. And we run drills all day long. Obviously. You only know how sick I am of those barracks, Nicholas. I've thought about starting a family. My ma keeps telling me to find a nice girl to marry. She says it's high time I got hitched. What happened with him and Otton? Why don't I remember that? Am I being an idiot? It's completely dark, and you're still talking. Finally, Thomas remembers that his parents are waiting for him. You get up from the table, leaving some dirty dishes and quite a few empty bottles behind. On your way out, you catch a glimpse of a nondescript figure following you to the door. As you walk alongside Thomas through your home neighbourhood, you keep glancing over your shoulder, but the shadow that was following you has disappeared. You reach your street and stop for a while in the semi-darkness between your family homes, just as you used to all those years ago. Bye, Brante. I hardly ever come to Anazot these days. Our battalion's always on the march, all over the province. But twins will in, we'll see each other again real soon. You advise your friend to safeguard his every life. Oh no, oh no. Oh no, my god, so much willpower. I am maxed out on willpower. That would have been handy like 2 chapters ago. The Gunpowder Plot. You're sitting on a solitary bench in a gazebo in the Archduke's garden. Tall lanterns spread their dim glow in the cool evening air. When Gaius Tempest became the overseer of Magra, one of his first edicts granted the commoners entry to the Archduke's garden. At the time, many Magrans saw this gesture as a sign of future change. But, unfortunately, the right to visit the Archduke's garden is the only new right the commoners now enjoy by the grace of Overseer Tempest. It does little to ease the burden of double taxation or the need to work the mines without gunpowder. A serpentine, stone-pathed road leads to the gazebo. Many flower beds are nestled in the bends and coils of the elaborate path. In the distance, on the other end of the path, you finally see Sophia's silhouette. She takes a look around, then steps over the low fence and walks to you through the flowers. I had trouble finding you here, Brante. Let's meet in one of the usual places next time. It isn't safe here. You agree, although you're sick and tired of the stuffy basement rooms and trash-filled ruins where you typically arrange to meet the leaders of the last straw cells. Okay, let's get to it. The last straw needs gunpowder. We could really use some. If we had gunpowder, we could blow up the Emperor's statue in the Golden Square, or the walls of the city armory. There's all kinds of stuff we could do. The thing is, we can't find it anymore. Even owning it's forbidden, thanks to the Overseer. Magran Industry has had to swallow a bitter pill and trade their fancy new gunpowder for good old shovels. Except not everyone got rid of it. Lucky for us, right? That new friend of yours, Mayor Egmont, is a resourceful fellow. He started buying gunpowder by the barrel some 20 years ago to work the mines. They still use it in his mines, but late at night so nobody finds out. There's a warehouse where they keep mountains of the stuff, Brante. We need to get our hands on it. If we can get Mayor to hand it over on his own, all the better. But if he digs his heels in, we'll just pay the warehouse a visit and grab it. Done deal. What'd you say? Seriously? But me and Mayor Egmont are good friends. This is very annoying. This is very annoying. Very, very annoying. Very, very annoying. Very, very annoying. Although, in all fairness, rejecting the idea outright isn't such a bad thing, because just blowing shit up isn't necessarily the best option. Sophia already hates me anyway, so it's fine. You shake your head at the idea. Meddling with gunpowder sounds far too dangerous. The last straw's greatest asset is secrecy. Gunpowder means explosions, and explosions cannot be kept secret. To prove your point, you remind Sophia that your goal is to keep innocent casualties to a minimum. Gunpowder never discriminates. An explosion would slay the innocents and the guilty alike. Over the past few months, the last straw has been growing steadily in strength. You have enough men for any operation. Why risk it for such a dubious opportunity? Sophia breathes in deeply, ready to make her case, but says nothing. A few moments later, she quietly exhales and sits next to you. It's pretty here, although I don't like gardens and parks all that much. They're beautiful, but useless, you know? Just a place for aimless walking and idle chit-chat. Fits the noble way of life, though, I guess. I suppose you're right, Brante. That powder could go to the foot of the pillar for all I care. We'll do just fine without it. Stay here with me for a while, okay? I don't want to be here all by myself. Okay. Well, that didn't affect my relationship with her either way, so... Okay. That's not what I was expecting, but cool. The Call of the Ancestors. Today is a big day for the Brante family. The day your family line started. The day when you remember all your ancestors. Tonight, everyone who bears the Brante name must descend into the family crypts to keep vigil by the tombs. This is the time to surrender yourself to the ancestors and hear their will. The entire family prepares for the event in silence. Stefan has been choosing his apparel since the morning, praying anxiously under his breath all the while. The heir has special place in the family vigil. Even Mother's planning to go with you, though Father tries to talk her out of it. Lydia, I beg of you, stay home. You're far too weak for an all-night vigil in the crypt. Gloria, would you be so kind as to stay with your mother, since you cannot join us anyway? Gloria answers in a muffled voice. As you wish, Sir Roberts. The late Sir Gregor would only be enraged to see Mother there. We all remembered how their last encounter ended. Oh, when you tried to burn her to death, yes, I remember. Father nods curtly, avoiding Gloria's gaze. But at that moment, your attention is drawn to a noise in the foyer. Nathan staggers through the door, stumbling over his own feet. He reeks of cheap wine and filth. I'm not late, am I? Everyone gazes at him in consternation. Nathan almost falls into Mother and Gloria's arms. Distressed, they fuss over him. Stefan eyes his younger brother coldly. Oh, I expected nothing more of you, Nathan. Why even speak of duty to your family when you can't even manage to live by the commoners' lot? Go lie down in a pantry and stay out of sight. Father, Niklaus, it's time. Let's go. Alongside Father and Stefan, you descend into the family crypt. You can't help but remember paying your last respects to your grandfather 9 years ago. You light the lamps. Dim, eerie flames illuminate the shrine. In the middle of it stands a magnificent stone tomb containing the long decayed remains of Gregor Brante. You take your place around the crypt and kneel. The all-night vigil has begun. At first, your ancestors remain silent. Each of you is left with their own thoughts. Then a low murmur passes around you. The shadows in the corners of the room deepen. The voices grow stronger. You know that the ancestors of Gregor Brante, long-forgotten commoners whom you never knew, are trying to talk to you. But now a memory of them has come to life in the darkness of the crypt. They're pleading for something, demanding it of you, calling out to you, screaming. Finally, you all hear the painfully familiar, deep, imperious voice echo from the far end of the chamber. Oh, it's been a long time since I've seen you all. I hope you bear good tidings. All this time I've been waiting for you to fulfill my mission. Remember, as long as I am in your blood, I will give you no peace. I did not have my family ennobled just to see our line cut short. Our blood tide must join the grand flow of the Empire, and then each of my descendants will inherit nobility forever and ever. But I do not see any of you before my tomb. Where are you hiding? Where is the head of our family? The man who will speak to me? Where is the man who will heed my will? Father rises from his knees and makes his way towards grandfather's stone tomb, the source of that booming voice. But Stefan suddenly pushes him out of the way. Father takes an indignant step forward, but Stefan firmly bars the way. Ooh, Stefan, you shit. Stop it, Stefan. You are my heir, but you are not the head of this family. Father, it is not you that Sir Gregor is addressing. Earning the nobility of the sword is my duty to him. He has long forsaken any hope of seeing you achieve it. You must understand that I am the one who will fulfill that duty. Stefan does not let him pass. Father breathes heavily in anger. You can all but feel the frantic beating of both their hearts resonating somewhere within you. Both your father and brother seem to have forgotten that you're here too. Even the restless voices of your ancestors have grown hushed, waiting for the outcome of this confrontation. I'm gonna side with father because fuck Stefan. You block Stefan's way. Your ponderous voice fills the dark crypt. You demand that your brother step back. The head of your family is your father, Robert Brante, and so it will be as long as he lives. Could your brother have forgotten that it is part of the noble lot to acknowledge and honour seniority? Your father is the man who must hear and accept your ancestors' will. Stefan tries to maintain his composure, but even in the dark, you can see his face twitch. Brother, you don't understand. I'm not defying father's seniority, but I am the man who bears this duty to our grandfather. I cannot remain a mere witness while the future of our blood tide runs through our fingers. You resolutely push your brother to one side. Whether he wants to or not, he will give way to the head of the family. Father catches his breath and approaches grandfather's tomb. So, it is you, Robert. Have you come to disappoint me yet again? Stefan is right. I have not put my hopes in you for quite some time. If anyone will lead the Brante family to glory, it will be my grandson. Stefan clenches his fists and whispers something to himself. I am doing my utmost, father. We are closer to becoming nobles of the sword than ever before. The Overseer looks upon us with favour. Just a couple more years and your dream will come true. This must be your dream too, Robert, but you still cater to your foundlings, Lydia and Gloria, risking a permanent blemish upon the Brante name, my name. Dead though I may be, my will lives on. Heed it at last. Get rid of that trollop Gloria, and devote yourself to your true family, otherwise you will lead our family to shame and ruin. Father hesitates for a moment. No, father. This is impossible. Even if I must defy your will, I am responsible for Gloria. My honour and my conscience will not allow me to do what you demand. You must accept this, or keep on fighting me for all eternity. The voice of your deceased ancestor fades away. He seems to have left this realm, but then his voice suddenly booms from the other side of the crypt. Stefan, you are the heir of this family. Your duty by blood is to earn us a place in eternity. Do not take after your spineless father. Do what must be done. Cleanse our family of wickedness. Oh, shit. Stefan is shivering. He replies in an unsteady voice. But Gloria, I can't. Stefan checks himself. I will do my duty to my family, Sir Gregor. Whatever the price, I will pay it. The crypt is completely silent once more. You are alone again. You see tears glistening in Stefan's face. Without uttering a word, he goes outside. Father clasps his arms firmly around you. You feel him let out a sigh of sorrow and relief. The vigil is over. That feels like the harmony shouldn't have been a +1 at all. Okay, it's fine. I'm still absolutely, positively brimming with willpower. A moment of respite. Nice. Your work for the day is finally done. You hurry to the family home, where peace and tranquility dwell again at last. Still, you've grown used to the idea that this peace could be disturbed at any moment. As you enter, Father walks down the stairs to greet you. He smiles, happily and warmly. "Nikolaus, my dear son, you're spending so much time at work. Look, you can barely stand. You need some rest. Please stay at home with us for a while. Surely your work can wait. You've earned yourself a moment of respite." You consider his words for a moment and agree. Overjoyed, Father takes your hand and leads you into the sitting room. You spend several days resting in the family home, where your troubles are distant and your family is close. They tell you their news, you carefully share yours. You spend the evenings together on the porch, just like in the good old days, listening to Father's stories of your family's history, sharing laughter over childhood memories. It's late now. Cicadas buzz quietly in the garden. The windows of your bedroom glow with a warm light. You recline in a wicker chair with a glass of good wine. There's no place like home. Hot damn! That was hugely successful. The errors of youth. It's been a month since Sophia left the city on Philippe's urgent orders. You have no idea where she went. Till she returns, the last straw has been laying low. You've had to tend to the print shop all by yourself. Early morning. Father Fuad welcomes you to the print shop. He looks like he was asleep just a moment ago himself. He gets up from his makeshift bed of crates and beckons you closer with a finger. "Brante, I've got something to tell you, young man. So I made my rounds last night, so to speak. I stopped by a few flop houses, hit a few taverns and other dens of iniquity, and I met a young man we could use. Not sure if we can trust him, though. His name's Gustav. He told me he comes from Eterna. Says he's on the run from the secret chancellery. He insists he was with the underground there in the capital. The Lotless, they're called. They were responsible for that march of the collars 4 years back." "Never heard of them." "So Gustav tells me all the Lotless were nabbed by secret chancellery spooks after their march. He thinks the Anazot underground could be in danger too. The trouble is, that's all he told me. He's not exactly a trusting fella. I think one of us ought to talk to him. Find out who he is and what he knows. He looks shady if you ask me, but maybe we could use him here. What do you say, young man?" You thank Fuad for the information. You'll think about how to meet with Gustav yourself. "Just give me the word, young man, and I'll set it up." Fuad bows, stretches, and walks off to the printing presses. You sigh, trying to steady the furious beating of your heart. Gustav was one of your trusted agents back in Eterna. If he gets too friendly with the last straw in Anazot, your name will come up eventually. You don't think that Gustav ever found out that the Lotless were established on Philippe's order. But still, he knows that you were deeply involved in the march. That alone might be enough for him to dismantle your cover story here in Anazot. You need to deal with this problem as quickly as possible. Well, looks like I'm ordering everyone to lay low. You alert Philippe to Gustav's presence. The secret chancellery can solve this problem for you. I guess dealing with Gustav on your own could put you and your cover story in danger. You send Philippe an urgent report. You warn him about the last surviving members of the Lotless and ask him to solve this problem for you. Then you send a warning to each of the last straw cells. Lay low, stay out of contact, and wait for a signal. For several weeks, you live the quiet, peaceful life of a print shop owner. Days pass. You hear nothing about Gustav or the Lotless. Your worries eventually disappear. There are no new rumours or news about recent injustices throughout the Empire, no never-ending speeches to inspire the people to fight, no meetings in basement. It feels strange at first, but you soon grow accustomed to this serene existence. Time marches on. But these peaceful days cannot last forever, and one fine morning you receive a letter from Philippe. "Your problem has been solved. Get back to work. We've lost too much time already. No more delays." Oh, I think Gustav got killed. Egmont's speech. Just a few days into the year, Mayor Egmont, chairman of the Lesser Quorum and owner of several silver mines, made a speech that caused quite a stir in the province. Though a commoner, Egmont had the gall to demand that Magran authorities both enforce and obey imperial law. What's the use of the imperial laws if they aren't enforced as they should be? Even today, any Anazot nobleman who gets up on the wrong side of bed can draw his sword and run a commoner through with impunity. These gentlemen may be rulers, but does that mean they can defy the Emperor's will? Sir Elborn has been appointed to enforce the rule of law in Magra. How come the prefect doesn't see this? We commoners aren't trying to seize the noble lot and take over the province, but the rule of tradition is a thing of the past. This is the age of justice. We may not all be equals in its eyes, but even the nobles and clergy must obey the law. The Magran aristocracy is furious with Egmont and demands that he be silenced, but the rich industrialist has too much money and too many connections to be dealt with so easily. You hear more and more rumours about secret societies of commoners appearing in the city, plotting against noble rule. The gentry fears that Egmont and his peers might be behind this, but they have no proof, at least for now. Father Lennart, abbot of the Temple of the Silver Tree and leader of the New Believers, supports Egmont and has spoken publicly in his favour. The twins themselves entrusted the noble estate with the rights to rule over the common folk, but rulers must also care for their subjects. The old faith is mistaken. No commoner should ever be forced to suffer. It is for this very reason that the imperial law exists. It is there to ease the people's suffering. May those laws be duly enforced, and may they serve all the people of the Empire. So we've just gone into year 1140. I am going to call this one here, because we're literally 2 years into the teeny tiny little sliver. In fact, yeah, we are literally that far into this, and it doesn't look like there's going to be a time jump happening, so this one looks like it's going to be multiple chapters. I am calling this one here, and we will proceed in the next episode. But this is interesting. There's potential different things happening here. It could still all go horribly wrong, but nothing's gone dramatically wrong at the moment. But, you know, anything can happen. But we will find out soon enough. So, if you want to check this out for yourself, then the link to the game page is in the description. If you have any thoughts about what's happening, or what I should be doing, or what I've been doing wrong or doing right, then leave me a comment, let me know. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, then why don't you go ahead and the like button, the super secret print shop owner that is the subscribe button, make sure you that bad boy. And until next time, love you, bye.